Hi, this is Gurcha. Remember, I sometimes start with criticism because I took what Dr. Brené Brown said in on TED Talks, that often persons in job reviews obtain a report, a feedback, in which there is a first enlisting of what is being done well or very well, that ends with areas of improvement, and we all then obsess on the areas of improvement, which is the criticism, as a reason of own inadequacy at work, as opposed to provide the boost to persons while criticizing what needs to be improved. Remember, all of my criticism and criticism in general, if it's not a breakup, and breakup has to please two persons, and it's never such that persons are heartbroken. The key formula for that is, if loving a relationship without limitations in exclusion of sexuality puts that person in own life and vice versa, then that is the way to go. If sexuality, including asexual intimacy, if sexuality is, if not pursued, a reason for utmost resentment and aggression between two, then that is the opposite. That is wanted sexuality, and that relationship has to be pursued. It needs to be mutual. So that is the always ask the question: is mutually sexuality for the two of you wanted in such way that others are unkind, and therefore sexuality is to be pursued? Or is sexuality, if separation, for instance, is considered, pursued only to keep that person in life while others are fantasized about or more? Be it as accepting and loving more sexually, or be it as being accepted and loved sexually more, for males and females equally. And remember, asexual relationships are great. And when the person is single, all of us, we have such a relationship, asexual ones, as friendships. And I, for example, right now there are many good men. So regardless of my situations, I want to extend thank yous for all great social work and great police work, because I am single, so it is being quite sometimes challenging. And extend thank you also for persons who provided for me, not expecting anything in exchange. Sometimes it is frustrating because persons could, for instance, use my work and enable me to make money, and persons wanting, wishing well, marked, I am on professional level, only providing for you, I don't want any work from you, anything in exchange, or provided for me to remark, I do not expect anything sexual, so that you don't feel that I am trying to use you, which is fantastic. And so, for instance, now I got a pack of cigarettes from a stranger, just like that, and the person just gave me the cigarettes, and it was really awesome, and left. And see, this is because of non-expectation, when regardless of sexuality or asexuality of emotions for towards people, male, female, or whoever, that person I want to keep in touch, and also regardless of work, because person is selfless and a good and kind person, and there are many persons such as like that. I like my mother many times, that she could be also a sufferer, expecting to suffer too much and gain respect for that suffering, not caring for herself, which was also my main accusation always. But also she could be very much like that, offering things to in a selfless way, to enable me and to be actually very happy when she was doing so. So thank you very much for the cigarettes. It's my last one. It's been very helpful. I want to add that offering of removal of the tattoos on a budget of the United States is a fantastic idea. Of course, doing so also with fancy creams and with lasers, especially in the sensitive areas in private practice, when people, or expensive hospitals when people can afford it, is useful. But having such service is very useful. But remember, it cannot be that persons, as if children, when having a relationship that is still denominated sexual maturation, combined with work in supplemental with animal derived food or labor, way mark themselves as animals, that it is forced because it is source of resentment and aggression and gives social work bad name. So inform the person about the killing quota, how to reduce it. Remember, saving lives of a given species is one way, amelioration of conditions of given species. And then secondly, the association of death and eating from sex, and thirdly, offer then removal as that person accommodates such in mind, so not to be feared and not to pursue on the mess or herd, as the other being then more secure that the person wants to stay alive, to be loved and loving, or have be a parent, and then offer the removal of the status. And that is then a complete good social work. It is in training. If you have that video, just accommodate to your work. That's all that you have to do. And remember, persons who risk life, such as firemen, that's an example, we often expect, or foreign medical graduates, we expect all of us, you do, that we will find recognition in work that deals with life and death and well-being because of trust. That if it goes at the expense of personal well-being and risks on bodily integrity, is presented as luxury or a favor, unfair, while others pursue families and have riches for work that does not require such sacrifice. So somebody shielding me with own body or providing me money for own wife is a person who actually I would pay more, the same as social worker, than a person who, for example, serves as a waitress vegan food. Even though it is great to have vegan food, that person does not risk life. That person wakes up and goes to bed on a given time that is predictable most of the time, and also does not have killing quota like the other one, or is not at risk of making mistakes that cost a lot of work to be able to continue, or it does not necessarily then give up personal relationships. Though single person that serves food instead of own family is at risk of having such, then in resentment, accusing of loving more one of the customers or co-workers than family because of the mental association. In this chapter, I wanted also to discuss, this chapter 24, something that is important to mention.